Welcome to a brand new episode of Mass. Today I have a very brilliant and inspiring guest who will be sharing with us, I am very sure, his inspiring story, and I can't wait for you all to listen to him and learn a thing or two or even more. I'd like you to join me to welcome on today's episode of Mass, Mr. Tunde Balogun.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, Mr. Tunde. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for honoring us.
Thank
and
you.
we can't wait to delve into.
Sure, we are going to Mars.
Yes, and we will go, to other planets in between.
Oh,
but,
yes.
But the journey is to Mars.
Thank you.
So welcome. I'll just give a brief. This is obviously abridged profile of Mr. Tunde. Tunde Daniel Balogun is a dynamic entrepreneur and a real estate expert, reshaping Nigeria's real estate scene. He is the co-founder of Small, an innovative real estate company offering flexible rental solutions through technology. Their Rent Small product serves over 3,000 tenants. And then they recently launched a new platform which they call Buy Small, that provides interest-free home ownership packages. So for those who want to buy a home and you do not want to pay interest because our mortgage system and our banking system and all is complex. Here is Mr. Tunde to the rescue for that. Small became the first PropTech company in Nigeria to join Techstars. And in 2022, Small raised a $3 million funding, which is the largest PropTech seed round in Nigeria, and then went on to win the AOT Disruptor of the Year award. I'm sure you'll tell us what AOT is, yes. Right? Mr. Tunde Balogun has a bachelor's degree in international business management and an MBA from Stanford University. He's deeply engaged in initiatives like the Clinton Global Initiative, Jumpstart Africa, and Youths for Change, focusing on African leadership and empowerment. Don't you just love this young man already? So, welcome.
Thank you.
First of all, before we go right into it, I'd like you to talk about this AOT. What is AOT? Because AOT I'm sure someone who hears it will want to know.
Art of Technology. So it's in partnership with Lagos State Government. It's actually Lagos State Government initiative.
Oh, fantastic.
To really promote technology and companies that are disrupting, using technology to disrupt markets and really, empower the society, drive the society forward. Okay. So that was what AOT. So it's Lagos State Government, GTEx, and a number of, bodies that came together.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So going right into it, I've come to realize that, success is not just by chance. There's a journey, and some of these journeys could be characterized with ups and downs, hiccups here and there. Sometimes they could be smooth, sometimes it could be rocky. There's just no success without a background story. Mm-hmm. And so would like you to share, with us this morning, what is that inspiring story behind you, Tunde Balogun, behind Small, Rent Small, Buy Small, the whole PropTech company. Tell us, a little about you and about your business.
Sure. I was coming here today and I was like, I've had opportunities, platforms to share, my journey, but I don't think I've shared it holistically in a way that maybe somebody can really understand what it takes, to...
more than half the time, it's probably not on a real estate platform.
What did you say? Mostly, sometimes on the real estate platform, sometimes on different platforms, right?
Maybe you also haven't had enough time to be able to share it.
Yes, but hopefully I'll be able to do that today.
Please, bear all of it out.
Because I think more people need to hear these stories in order to...
connect with it.
Yeah. Yes. So which is what this is about, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So I started last year, became 10 years that I've been in real estate.
Ooh, amazing.
So
congratulations.
This year is 11 years. Thank you.
Wow.
And the first real estate company I founded was Unique Edge Management, which was, I was living in Thailand as then, I was running my MBA program, right? Okay. And I was building another startup, which was called swapta.com, and the whole idea was for people that want to swap goods and services. You know, I have phone, you have a tab or something that I need, we could swap. And yeah, so that was
brilliant.
what I was building, you know. And then the church I was attending, there was a friend, an older friend, an American guy, who said, "Oh, I love what you're doing. I know that it must be taking a lot from you right now, but just on the side, would you be interested in helping my friend? My friend has a villa in Phuket, and you know the villa is just there. Would you be interested in helping us manage the villa, like rent it out, and then make some money on the side to support yourself while you are still trying to build this company?" And I was like, oh, wow. That's very thoughtful of you. I've never managed any property and anything like that. Why not?
So that's what brought you.
Yes. So that was how he gave me. So I flew to Phuket, you know, from Bangkok. I was living in Bangkok to go and see the property. Very like ocean view property, like a very beautiful property. So I listed it on different platforms, drafted the business plan and all of that. And within 3 months, you know, this property was generating about $25,000. You know, I think we're charging about $1,500 per night or so. You know, and my commission on that property was around 10% or so. And I was like, whoa.
You were just making cool money.
I know. I was like, interesting. You know, just like that on one property, I was already earning good money. So, but the entrepreneur in me kicked in that, what if I could take this one property to 100 properties? That would be interesting, right? But the other thing I also immediately started connecting with in managing that property, you know, so we went from that 1 to like 2 to like 3.
So we need 4. To find that guy, right?
He became my business partner.
Ooh, amazing.
My business. So when the business was now, so he was also the first person I now went back to and say, I want to scale this. I think we can do it together.
Amazing.
You know, so we actually became the business partner. I'm going to jump at that. So one of the things that also, and the reason why I want to share this is that sometimes you get into things that looks like it just happened, but it actually unlock you and connect you to your destiny.
Bigger opportunities.
Yes, to your destiny and to the things that are passion, like are wired into you. You know, I was the kid growing up that is always making sure the house looks good. If something is broken in the house, I was the kid that would use my money to fix it. If the socket is not, you know, one of the things I did then was like at night when my dad comes back home and drives into the car porch or car park, right? I realized that it's always dark, you know, and I would look from my window to the car porch and see that it's dark. And then I was like, this house you cannot be coming back at night and it's dark. And I went out to buy wires, bulb, and I connected it from my bathroom by myself. Connected and put like that when my dad came, he was shocked, you know, and so I did. If there are things on the wall.
You weren't scared of getting shocked?
No, I mean, it was home of boys, you know, over 15 boys in my family. So, you know, so
you guys were hands-on?
Yeah, we're very hands-on. But so when I started managing these properties, it started connecting me back to my childhood of the things that I flair of, how I was so intrigued by interior, space, you know, just space, use
putting
of space
things together
and all of that, specifically real estate, specifically housing, right? So it became obvious that, okay, I think I found what I was supposed to do, you know, so, and it became like really smooth and easier for me to start connecting the dots, right? So by the time I went back to the same guy and then we partnered together and then we scaled the business, but the journey wasn't that smooth also because, again, I was a black guy in Nigeria, African in a country, in an Asian country, you know, where sometimes the people have a different view of who you are and where you're coming from. So how do you engage these property owners to be able to scale to over 200 properties in a space of 1 year? You know,
that was your vision.
Yeah,
That was your
actually,
goal.
and we achieved it. And we achieved it. And the other part of the story that really just, I mean, I was running my MBA at the same time, and the business was really growing fast. We have cleaners that will come and clean the house. It was a vacation rental business, right? So what we call shortlet in this part of the world. So we have guests that are always coming, moving in, coming out, and all of that. And then we have cleaners. And at times we'll be so booked out that all our cleaners are so occupied, and someone is checking out, someone needs to check in, and we need someone to clean the house. And I will be in an MBA class, and they will tell me that this is happening now, and I will leave my MBA class, rush, and I'll go and clean the property myself, wash toilets, lay the bed. And I mean, I did that.
Humble beginnings.
Humble beginning, yeah. I did that over and over again until we were able to add more people, train them, and all of that. But I also learned the power of partnership in that process of two people that comes together to do something. I knew what my strengths were and the strength of my partner. So I was more of like, I wanted to scale. Yes. I want to grow the business. Yes. Let's be doing. He wasn't very, and he was very hospitable. I wasn't as hospitable as him. So, but because vacation rental or shortlet business is hospitality business.
So he was the operations guy.
Yes.
And you were the risk taker.
Yes, I was the risk taker.
You just wanted to fly out.
Yes, I wanted to, but I learned a lot of lesson in actually understanding that every business is different. You are in hospitality business. Okay. You need to provide that hospitality if you are going to stay on top of your game and continue to attract and grow the business. It's not enough to just say, I want to do 10 things. There are 10 things that I need to do to scale the business, to grow the business. But when you miss the fundamentals, right, hospitality business is hospitality business. You are competing with hotel, whether you like it or not. You might not be set up as hotel. The model might not be completely hotel model where you provide, but it's hospitality business, right? So in some cases where like maybe we didn't set up the room quickly enough, for a guest to move in, my partner will be like, let's buy a bottle of wine, let's buy flour and give them, at times,
fruits or something,
just something just to add in. And me, I'll be like, why are we doing this extra and all of that? But I understood what all of those things meant to these customers, right? And I saw the joy, the excitement in their eyes, right? Another defining moment for me was when my partner needed to move back to the US, and the business was now left in my hands in Thailand. So one of the things we did when we saw that we already were using platform like Airbnb, Booking.com, we had our own platform, but we're also using all of this platform to push, to engage, to get customers, right? So one of the things we did was, the idea I had was like, we've built over 1,000 reviews, positive reviews from people that have stayed in our properties. It's easier for us to onboard more properties now because we only just need to share our link with this. Reviews. So I sent a mail. I did a draft mail, very nice email that just talks about our success story, and I started sending it to different homeowners on Airbnb, and a lot of them started reaching out. But the funny thing is that they didn't know that it was a black guy that was behind it because our Airbnb profile says Mark and Daniel. My middle name is Daniel, right? Mark and Daniel. And it's Mark's picture that is on the profile.
That was strategic.
Yeah, but that is business strategy to grow a business. So when it's time for us to meet them, Mark will now go for the meeting and meet with them and close it. So he was the face of the business. Yeah, in engaging but then Mark was moving back to the US. Ooh. And who now the responsibility to start meeting these people now. And I was like, how am I going to do it now? If they meet me and see that I'm a black guy from Nigeria, would they not say no? I learned another big lesson in business that it's not about what you look like. When people see value, they will forget what you look like and go for the value. And so I was very nervous about going out there to meet these people, but I took on someone courage and I started going for this meeting, and to be shocked, I got more yeses, like 90% of the time, than no's. I can literally count the number of no's that I got, and that was what actually took us to really scale the business. And then Mark was in the US, and also we started business in the US as well. But I learned a lot in that process, which was what really now became a defining moment for me also when I moved back to Nigeria.
Amazing, amazing. From all you have said, I gathered two things. One is with whatever business you're doing, you started out, in the hospitality business with Mark, and you realized, you learned from your partner that first of all, the partnership is very good for business, right? And the second striking thing you learned from him was customer experience.
Yeah.
Right? You were just all about making the money. He was about making sure that the customers were satisfied and ensure that left good reviews that would help you expand the business. And then the second vital thing you also said was giving value.
Yeah.
They don't care. Your customer, your subscriber, whoever, they don't care. What they care about is the value. They don't care what you look like. And most often than not, you see a lot of people are worried. They build that wall. They don't want to go outside that comfort zone. They don't want to market. They don't want to present themselves. They don't want to pitch their ideas because they feel like, oh, before I get there, I'm already judged. I would already, they shut themselves down and say it's a no. And forget that value precedes every other thing. And with the value that you had to offer, you were able to get more yeses than no's. Fantastic.
Thank you.
So I'll go right to ask you, how did you then, come back into Nigeria? Don't let me use Nigeria. Come back into Nigeria. What was the big idea behind small, and how is small reshaping the rental market in Nigeria?
So moving back to Nigeria, I moved back in 2015. And interestingly, when I was moving back, everybody was shocked. My parents, like, why are you moving back?
You had a thriving business.
Yeah, and the properties we were managing are luxury properties, high-end properties. So properties that are doing $2,000 a night, $5,000 a night. So, but I got to a point where I knew there was more, and the more for me was where you were. Yeah, was coming back home. It was like I'll sleep and I'll be getting alerts of thousands of dollars in my phone. That's how easy, because at that point the business was already structured and all of that. So I didn't need to do much again, right? But then there was more, and there was this yearning that there's more.
That restlessness.
Yeah, restlessness. Comes. Sometimes it turns to tears.
Yeah.
Like you don't even know what it is until
I've been there.
I knew that coming home was it for me. And I told everybody, and within a month I moved back to Nigeria. Within a month, literally. But I already knew that real estate was it for me. I already knew. But when I was moving back, what I thought was like, it was going to be development. Because and the reason why I was thinking development was I felt like that was the best place to express my creativity. Space, how I think about space and all of those things, right? But one of the first thing I did, which is also very critical in how you learn and how you understand the market. I was coming back into Nigeria. I knew nothing about real estate in Nigeria, and even before I moved by, I wanted to buy a property. I wanted to buy a one-bedroom or studio apartment because, again,
that's what you're used to.
Yeah, I was used to studio one-bedroom. I didn't think of four-bedroom or five-bedroom, as most people think, like the first property you have to have.
That's the Nigerian mentality.
Yeah, Nigerian mentality. But I was living in a very nice one-bedroom.
Very compact.
They're functional. Functional. And we're going to get to that, how we need to reorientate ourselves around space and all that, right? So, and I sent my sibling to help me check, and they couldn't find one studio bedroom in 2015 in this axis, right? And I was like, okay, so I already picked something that there's something about the market.
You need to work
on, right? But one of the things I did when I moved back was that I knew that I needed to understand the market better.
Yes.
And I spoke with my immediate younger brother who was based in the US. He had just moved to the US the same time I moved back to Nigeria. Okay. So I told him, this is what I'm thinking. I would like to learn more about the market. Do you know somebody in the space? And he said, he knows Bengalaniyo, Mr. Bengalaniyo of Estate Links.
Yes.
And he connected me. Okay. And I was going to Mr. Bengalaniyo's office for about 3 to 5 months. I wasn't a staff, but I was allowed to come in every day and just work with them and all of that, right? And that just kind of allowed me to understand the market better. And from there, after the 3-5 months I spent with them, it became clearer what I wanted to do. And that was also the period that I wanted to, since I couldn't buy, then I was like, okay, let me rent. and I realized that Nigerians pay their rent 1 year, 2 years upfront. And for me, all the years I lived abroad, I was paying monthly. So it became obvious that as much as development was what I was thinking, but this is a problem I would love to solve. And that problem was providing flexibility for people to pay their rent monthly, because we are a young population country. There are a lot of people that want a head start, that want to rent their own place, and they won't be able to have that start to life just because they don't have 1 year rent upfront or 2 years rent upfront. And they will be cut away from opportunities as a result of that. So I saw the problem for what it was, and that was what started us off. So the company name was initially Rent Small, before we rebranded in 2022. And changed the name to Small, and then Rent Small now became a product, and then Buy Small became a second product of Rent Small, right? So I mean, when we started out, people told me that no landlord in Nigeria will collect rent monthly, because for decades we've been collecting rent 1 year upfront, right?
But there can be a break point.
Oh yes, and I will tell you that, I mean, we've done, till today, we've never paid any landlord 1 year upfront, till today. And people, when I tell people this, they find it hard to believe. And one of the things they say is that, do you use jazz or something, right? And it really boils down to the value again. Like when you have, and the way we started, I mean, I'll tell you so that you know how hard it was. For almost 8 months, we couldn't get one single landlord on Rent Small.
Because they warned you already that nobody was going to give you their house. I mean, people that know me know me, that once I've said to do something, I'll figure it out. Because I just don't do anything. My threshold for focus is high. It's really high.
It's really
obviously.
high. So we set out, we were going from estate to estate, we printed flyers, we did everything. We had a team of about 6 staff. We would all go out, I'll carry some of them in my car, even then, my car would break down on the road sometimes, so all my money was going into, I had money, savings and all of that, but car wasn't priority to me, and the car I was driving then was giving me so many issues, right? But what I now did was, I had a 2-bedroom duplex in Lekki Phase 1 where I was staying. We turned that into office, and then I moved into a BQ, also in Lekki Phase 1.
Oh, wow.
I literally moved into a BQ with all that was in the BQ was my bed frame and all of that, right? And within that time was when we were engaging and all of that, right? So after some time, I got a new 2-bedroom, and I rented out. The first property we got on Rent Small that we rented out was the spare room in my 2-bedroom. And that was what I now used as the story. I started going to landlord and sell the business as if it's already, it's not like we are trying to onboard in the first landlord, because I realized that one of the things is that they will tell you how many
they want to see it.
Yeah, they want to see it in practicality.
Yes.
And we've already onboarded properties, we already have tenants, and you now meet landlords that are passionate about the space. They will say, I like what you're doing, you're a young man, I have 13 properties. So our first landlord had 13 properties in Lekki Phase, 13 units in Lekki Phase 1. And he said, I would give you guys 2 units out of the 13 to start with. And if I like what you guys are doing, then at some point I'll let you have all the 13. And that was the first 2 units. It became really good for the landlord that he said that, I never thought I would enjoy collecting my rent monthly. Because before, you would collect all the rent one time and everything is gone. Obligation, family thing is gone. And real estate is supposed to be a passive income investment to support your primary.
And then for even the renter,
the rental income,
it's easy for you to take your salary and take a portion of it and pay off your rent.
Yes.
It becomes a bit tedious to have to save the entire year. And then sometimes things happen along the year and you have to dip into those savings for your rent.
Absolutely.
But this,
So on the tenant side, the value is there. We had huge demand. I mean, immediately we went to market, people were signing up on our platform, wanted to pay their rent monthly with very little marketing. So it was obvious that demand is not the problem. The problem was supply, right? And on the tenant landlord side, we identified the pain points for landlord. The yearly rental eviction process is cumbersome. You have to serve the tenant 6 months eviction notice, and then after that 6 months, you now have to take them, start the legal process to get them out and all of that. That one is there. There are damages that even when you evict the tenant, you still have to deal with the damages. So there's cost on eviction, there's cost of refixing the property and all of that. So we identify a lot of the pain points, right? And we package those pain points as our solution under Rent Small Small, to whereby the landlord stand to earn more when they are doing monthly rental. We have security deposit of 2 months, which means we use licensing agreement, which means we can get the tenant out faster within a month. And when we get the tenant out, we can immediately put a new tenant in the property. So the landlord gets the security deposit, and they also don't lose out on any rent. So they're almost earning 2 months rent for a time that a tenant is leaving the property or a tenant defaults.
And this is really working in Nigeria.
I mean, it's for 6 years now we've been in business, and we've rented homes to over 3,000 tenants, and we're still going at it. So, but supply was still an issue for us, and we thought, okay, instead of waiting for all the landlords in Nigeria to subscribe to Rent Small Small, come on board. But we know that we're going there because it brings about financial balance.
Yes,
it helps the nation more than anything. When we are living in a bubble when people cannot adequately say this is how much I'm earning and this is how much I'm paying as rent. And let me explain what that bubble is. Most people pick property based on how they feel, I like it.
Oh, yes.
They don't really, I like it. Let me look for the 1 year rent anyhow, even a loan or whatever, and pay it off, right?
They don't. Or they even have the 1 year and they are able to pay. They don't know how the subsequent rents.
That is one of the big problems, right? So they now start running and scatter when the next rent is due, and that's why you see default rates like really, really high, right? So, but with the monthly, there's nobody that wants to rent a place, and you are earning 200K monthly, and you come and the property you want to rent is 300K monthly. You don't need calculator. You don't need to go to Harvard or any.
But then, I would also, ask you here, even knowing that you earn 200,000, right? Within a month, there could be like some emergency that would actually require those monies, and you might not be able to meet up with your rent obligation.
So, I mean, we have different structure in place to cover that.
I mean, someone's mom can fall ill, and you're earning 200,000. You need to do medicals and all of that, and you need to pay your rent. So, that's where the advantage of paying a long term. So that month you don't need to bother.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to some extent, there are pros and cons to everything, right? You just have to now say which one has higher pros than cons, and which one benefits us, better even as a nation and all of that. And we're not saying that people should not pay yearly. We're not saying that because I don't think we've gotten there yet. We believe that we're going to get there where monthly rental is going to be the norm. But for a start, the people that are looking for monthly rental, that is what they need, and that is what it meets their need. Those are our target market first. And then we've had other people that have also, they weren't looking for monthly rental, but at the end of the day, they actually saw that it benefits them more, and they've subscribed. But the challenge we were having now was supply. How do we, instead of waiting and sitting for all the landlords to, so we created a backward integration, and that backward integration is buy small, whereby most of the properties are owned by older generation, and to change their mind around monthly rental is going to take longer time, longer work, right? How do we create opportunity for the younger generation to become homeowners, to become landlords? So Buy Small Small now became a vision to make new generation, younger people become landlords, whereby they understand, we can speak our language and they will understand it better because we are young people ourselves, right? We are a young company, right? And then we also looked at what are the different paths to home ownership? What are the different models we can provide to allow them? Because we now saw that it's a big problem actually. There's no clear path for a young person to own home in Nigeria. You know, the barriers are so high for home ownership, mortgage is high and all of those things. So that's really what we've done. Amazing. And how we've gotten to small, where we are today with small.
Amazing. I'd like to, dig a little bit. We're not a very disciplined nation, right? And that discipline for people to actually pay every month is not something that Nigerians are used to. Do you understand? So how have you been able to make sure that this over 3,000 tenants have been able to stay consistent with paying monthly?
So I'll tell you, yeah, I agree that we are not, it takes a lot to be disciplined.
Yeah.
But I think once people, first of all, the tenant knows that housing is a basic need. You don't want to be kicked out.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to be kicked out of where they are staying, because after if you've done everything, there's only one place you are coming back to, which is your home, right? Yeah. So we have the security deposit, which ensures that if we need to evict you, we have something.
So you pay 2 months ahead?
Yeah, 2 months security deposit, apart from your monthly rent, right? Okay. So we have that in place. We also have the type of agreement that we use that allows us evict you faster. Okay. But beyond that, what we are really selling to you is that manage your finances better.
And the ease
to
actually get that good roof over your head.
Yeah, that is there. But also we're educating most of our customers are young people. Our average age is 32, on our platform. I think the oldest tenant is like maybe 48 or something like that. So you
really young people.
Yeah, young people, right? But educating them as well is very important, which is like planning your finances. So it's beyond just, it's a mission. We see it as a mission, whereby you are earning monthly. What are your monthly obligations? And you know that you need to pay your rent, right? So if we incentivize paying rent on time, and things like that, they earn points. So we've put different layers of things. Amazing. In fact, our goal right now is to, within the next 1 year, we want to make 100 of our tenant landlords. Within 1 year, we want to make 100, and those 100 tenants are tenants that have been consistent in paying their rent on time. They've never defaulted, and because we want to take our customers on a journey whereby you started as a tenant, but everybody has a dream of owning home one day.
Absolutely.
So how can we actually, and we've always had that dream of like the journey for our customers is from tenant to homeowner. So how can we start and
then repeat the process.
Yes.
So they in turn become investors.
A landlord. Yes, they become a landlord, and then they are putting someone, they're allowing someone else.
And then they begin to earn from that.
That is so. I mean, it's still work. We had our highest default in 2022 because of the economy thing, and it was in properties that are in certain area, not in Lekki Phase 1.
So where are your properties spread across?
Our properties are everywhere. On the island, almost everywhere. On the mainland, in certain locations, we haven't covered the entire mainland, but the island from Ikoyi all the way to Abidjan, we have property all the way from Wotedo and all of that. So
and people are paying?
Yes, monthly.
Monthly?
Yeah, monthly. And
amazing.
The default we had in 2022 as a result of the economy, we saw that it was in a certain price bracket, income bracket, right? Okay. So in fact, our security deposits used to be 1 month. It was after that experience that we now had to immediately make adjustments. So the reason why I'm saying this is that for every business, you can't come into the market with a model and believe that is what the business is going to be forever. You on the journey, you learn, you make changes, you adjust, and all of that in order to protect the business and make it sustainable.
Yes.
So that's what we've done.
Absolutely. Well done. Well done to you and your team. 2021, you became the first PropTech company in Nigeria to join Techstars. We mentioned that earlier, and then you were able to raise $3 million in funding, and then of course you won this award we spoke about earlier. So what are the key strategies, what are the innovative approaches that you took, that the company small undertook to ensure that you were able to get to this milestone and sustain it?